Hey guys, it's Daryl here. It's Saturday morning. I wasn't sure if I should make this video. Sometimes I look at my videos and I wonder if they're too personal, if I'm telling you guys too much, or if I'm connecting. If a lot of times I tend to skip around because this obviously these videos are not scripted. It's all off the top of my head as it comes out. And I'm hoping that you guys can relate to it, that I'm making sense to you guys. Now this is going to go back. Like I said, yesterday's video with the immigrant, making an immigrant friend, looking back at it, I think part of me, I'm not big. I have a few very close relationships. I'm one of those people. I'm introverted. I'm an artist, a little weird. The people that I let into my life, I have good friends I would die, I would do anything for, but they're a small group. I make friends very picky. I'm very picky. I'm very cautious with people. I mean, you would never know it. I come across as friendly, I think, but I'm very picky as to letting people into the whole, into opening up to people. I think I was kind of excited when I came home yesterday because it had been a series of times I had stopped in there, and I was clicking. It was nice, man. I was clicking with another human being, and it was good. But looking back, I look at the video and I wonder, I was like, I don't want this to be perceived as all about race, because it really wasn't that either, not to me. Anyway, on to the video today. The first video I made today that I downloaded was about Eminem's video, Darkness, about the Las Vegas shooter. Okay, the video I made was right off the top of my head. It hit me hard. It bothered me. It's about 2 hours later now, and it took me a while to get out of a funk. It put me in a deep funk. It was almost a trigger for me. No pun intended. One thing I realized that Eminem, me, and the Las Vegas shooter all had in common was abuse of drug and alcohol problem, drug and alcohol addiction. All three of us. It brings you to a very dark place where when I was in the depths of drug addiction, I used the words lost. I remember crying, man. I remember drinking beer and crying and using, and I felt lost. And now looking back, I feel like I have actually gotten my soul back. I feel like I lost my soul when I was using. To clear up the video, though, when I watched my own video over, I was talking about different instances that Eminem's video reminded me of how I could relate. And I remember this one time, I was talking about retribution on the school bus. Not the school bus, on the bus. I had previously gotten beaten up by a whole group of people. I started to get some power back, and I considered I almost had a retribution fantasy of hurting other people. Scary, but it's the truth. I imagine it happens to other people where you're hurt, and I guess you want to hurt back. I don't know. That's the simplest way to put it. I drew up like three memories. Another memory, the closest I ever came to taking a life, my own, when I almost hung myself. And miraculously, I didn't. I don't have the answers for that. I don't know why it didn't happen. Through a lot of, the odds are I shouldn't be here. That's a fact, without a doubt. I should not be sitting here. My existence of sitting here 13 years clean and sober is rare. It's a rare occurrence. It's and I appreciate that, and I don't forget it. I remember that every single day. It's a gift. I look at it as a gift. So yeah, the three, there was when I almost hung myself, the time on the bus. Oh, and when I was watching The Expendables the other day, the three movies, it's not movies I would usually watch. Very violent with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and I got caught up in it, and I got caught up in the violence, and I found myself screaming and cheering it on, the blood, the shooting, the death. If you ever seen those movies, you see the splatter and the body's actually being blown in half. And a little ways into it, I started to get conflicted. I'm like, what's going on, man? You know, because this isn't stuff I'd usually watch, but yeah, I found myself almost drooling over the freaking violence in it. And it kind of, I don't know, it confused me, it scared me. It was weird, man. You know, and I ended up watching all three Expendables video. I mean, it was a good storyline. There was a lot of major stars in it. I could use those for excuses, but the violence, like I said, and I found myself cheering it on. I make a point of not watching those because to me, it doesn't accurately portray. It pretties up death and violence. You know, those violent movies, Stallone, you know, the shoot 'em ups. It pretties it up. It makes killing somebody, it makes war, it makes it all look sexy and easy and to a soundtrack. When people that have witnessed it, you know, the smell, the sights are not pretty. It's something out of Dante's levels of hell, for real. It's not pretty. So I have a problem with those movies. It really pretties up the whole violence in general. And yet I found myself cheering it on. I don't even have an answer for that. Confusing, you know? I don't know. You know, and I wonder, is it a part in all of us? Just a human animal nature? You know, retribution to the bad guys? I don't know. So, to make it clear, like I said, the first video I downloaded today, the darkness video, darkness, light, good, evil, pawns, that video, I just watched the Eminem darkness video, and I talked about 3 instances that came to my mind about violence, just violence, and when I almost offed myself. And then like I said, I noticed too that the weird thing is I really think that drugs and alcohol, like I said, it takes you to a very desperate, lonely place with no hope. And I think when you're in that place, you're very vulnerable to evil. You know, you might believe in it, you might not. But drugs and alcohol make you very vulnerable. It brings you to a very low place. Like I said, I felt like I lost my soul. I felt lost. I use those words specifically like 20 years ago. It's a very, very dark place. And I think if there is darkness and evil, true darkness and evil, if it would be specifically attracted to that right there, the vulnerability of somebody under the influence, you know, heavily into despair and drugs and alcohol would be a perfect victim, a perfect pawn, if you will. So I hope I cleared up that video a little bit. When I just watched it again, I wanted to make sure you guys understood and got it. I don't know. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys can relate to it. All right. Have a good Saturday.